And at the end, it was fucking nuts. So, like, imagine, like, end of the fucking night, thousands of people coming out, and it was just every man for themselves. It was just, they emptied these huge muslin bags of phones, and people were just, like, running to get their phones with this huge strip light on top of you. I remember I was really fucked, and I was like, this is like watching, I don't know, some kind of, like, really intense feeding frenzy, like, it was nuts. Welcome to Crave the Rave, a naughty podcast for old school ravers who need a fix of the rave. I'm Lady Bizarre.
And I'm Jess the Mess. On each episode, we'll be reminiscing over hilarious, embarrassing, and downright mental stories from our raver days.
Think trippy tales, fezzy fails, and stories from the sesh.
We've seen, heard, and done it all. And we bet you have too.
So join us for a trip down memory lane.
Welcome, Crave the Rave listeners, to another fantastic, well, we hope it will be, episode to Crave the Rave. I'm Jess the Mess.
You're very cheesy.
I'm Jess the Mess, coming to you through the waves, sound waves.
You should have been a kids' TV presenter, I think. You missed your calling.
Oh, I would have loved to be a kids' TV presenter, or even just a kids' character.
You are a character.
What do you call them? Entertainer!
An entertainer.
Have you actually seen what kids' entertainers are like? They're always like really depressed, like characters that didn't ever make it in life. They're terrifying. I took Baby D down to the country fair, and there was Punch and Judy. And I mean, it was really dark how much she enjoyed the punching of Judy. Like, she literally laughed her head off to the point where everyone else was looking at her because it wasn't a funny bit, and she was cracking up. And I thought, oh God, is this future issues? I don't know. But anyway, so the man did the show, and you didn't get to see him. And then, because Baby D loved it so much, we sort of like hung around at the end a bit. I don't know what for.
You trying to get an autograph?
And get an autograph from him, right? I think she wanted an autograph, right? Anyway, he came out from behind the little cloak thing, and he was this really weird, greasy-haired, strange-looking guy, and I thought, ooh. Anyway, thought that was a one-off. Didn't think much of that.
Did you think he's been punching Judy for sure?
I thought, what has been going on there? He's been punched by Judy. I don't know. But then... And then she was obsessed with it, right? So she came home, I'm so excited. So then it was the summertime, so I thought, I'll go, basically, let's go and find another Punching Judy. So we went to like another village fair.
I was there.
Yeah, you were there. It was the saddest Punch and Judy ever. In fact, it was the saddest
so
children's entertainment. There was like some roadman with some balloons who was like, and a kazoo going, and then he was just really random. Plus it was raining, which put a down on everything. And then I was like, oh, look, the Punch and Judy show, the Punch and Judy show. Do you remember? And then Baby D was like all excited for it. And out comes this weird little guy who'd been hiding in the box for hours. And then he did this show, and it was so bad. It had a little crocodile, and it had Punch and Judy, and you couldn't really see them. I just felt so bad for him because no one was watching him. But there was only so much time that we could give because he was so shit.
There was only you and the two kids that we were with, Baby D and her cousin, right? That was it. And so we wanted to leave. I was pissing myself laughing. I was like, I actually have no responsibility to be here. You had active kids watching, but they were the only kids that were watching. So I could see that you were trying to be nice and felt bad because if they walk away, he's then performing to an empty, wet tarpaulin on the floor. It was literally so sad.
Exactly. He would have been performing to nobody. And I was just like, this poor guy. But then I thought, but he was crap. Like, he was really rubbish. So, like, how much of our time do we have to pretend that we're enjoying it? And he was, like, trying to get audience participation from inside the booth. So he'd be like, who's there? And, like, the kids were too young to really know what they're meant to respond. So it just ended up being me being like, it's behind you. It's the crocodile. Where's the baby? It's in the washing machine.
I remember. I was cracking up at you.
Do you know what I mean? It was really sad. So anyway, I don't know why we start with Punch and Judy, but it's a very weird thing, and children entertainers are really odd. So I'll just entertain the Crave the Rave listeners instead.
Yeah, you'd be much better. I mean, it's not too late, in life.
Well, I threw a Halloween party for Baby D this year and I absolutely loved it. I tried to really scare them. But no, that's not my calling in life, I don't think. But anyway, that's a strange start. How are you? What have you been up to? No, I know what you've been up to. Again, this is meant to be a podcast for people who were ex-ravers and people who no longer party and want to reminisce. However, somebody, i.e. you, has been going out, partying, posting it on the stories, making us all jealous. You just suddenly found a party apparently in Mexico?
There's always a fucking party in Mexico, but basically, yeah, you're right. But the thing is, I don't even really count it as partying because it's like, I'd been out, I took myself for a dinner, I was doing some research for my new job, and I finished up about 11:30. I messaged a friend because it was like Friday night, and I was like, oh, if you haven't gone out yet, maybe I could pop in. He was like, oh, we're actually just about to arrive at Martina's where Danny Howells was playing, and I knew he was playing, and he messaged me earlier in the week being like, come, and I was like, oh, no, I'm not going out this weekend, like, that's not the vibe. But it was literally 1 block from where I was sat having dinner. Convenient.
You couldn't resist. You couldn't say no.
He sent me the location of where he was, and his head was on top of my head on the little WhatsApp Google Map thing. And I was like, wait, you're literally here. And he went past in a taxi. So I got on my bike, chased after him, and got to the entrance of the club just to say hi. I was ready to go home, but I was like, oh, let's just see where the wind takes me in this little moment. And he was with John Creamer, who's this DJ producer that's been in the business for like 30 years. So the security and everyone on the door like know him, they just let him in. And so my friend Richard was like, yeah, just come in. And I was like, wait. I was like, I'm not coming in.
Yeah, but what were you doing? Meeting them, lurking around the entrance with them, hanging around them, and then be like, oh, I'm not coming in. I'm not going out tonight. Like, who are you trying to kid?
No, I just
yourself.
Was like, well, it was more like, I've got my laptop. I was obviously like, look, if I could just walk in and it was free, and it was like, I could just pop in without a commitment of just like, I could come in for a bit. But I was like, I'm not going to go in and start paying like silly money when I'm like not fully committed to the cause. So anyway, he was like, yeah, we'll just get you one more wristband backstage, blah, blah, blah. And I was like,
sweet.
All right, fuck it.
Yeah.
Okay, lock my bike up. Next thing I know, I'm in there. And it was so sick, and I stayed till 4 a.m. And Danny Howells, I'm sorry, is my new favorite DJ. Like, he's not new. He's been around since, he was the late 80s he started. And he's like does progressive house, and I fucking love progressive house.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I only had 1 beer and I got stoned. But when I get stoned, I'm actually like, it's like somebody else who's taken a lot of other things, as right? You've seen me stoned, right?
Yeah, when you're stoned, you're actually like all over the place and like you're laughing your head off. It's like you're really drunk, actually. Like if getting stoned did that to me, I'd do that a lot more, but it doesn't do that to me. I just get paranoid and shake myself in a corner and think everyone's like talking about me and then throw up. But you actually look like you're having the best time when you smoke a joint.
Yeah. So like when I got in there, I was like, had a beer. I knew I didn't want to get drunk. I definitely wasn't getting on it because, I wasn't going out. And I was also teaching a dance class the next day. So I was like, I had to kind of have my shit together. I just wanted to be there for the music. But then I was like, oh, I really would love to get stoned. Of course, I manifested this tall guy from Canada coming up to me and being like, basically talking to me for like 10 seconds and then being like, we're actually just going to go smoke a joint. You want to come? I was like, yes, please. Perfect. Really wasn't hard to manifest exactly what I wanted. And then I came back and I was having like the best time. And I've just pulled up my phone because I just remembered I was making notes when I was stoned about how amazing the music was. And I haven't looked at them since. But let's see what I've actually written.
Oh, please.
I've written, this is so shit. Non-offensive, accessible. Oh, I know, because me and my friend Richard were talking about how anyone could like this music. Like people consider techno or house and they're like, oh, I don't like that. Yeah. But this music was so uplifting and warm and inviting that I feel like it would be hard for anyone to be like, oh, this is offensive. This is like techno. I don't like that. Like it was good music. Anyway, so I wrote non-offensive, accessible, warm, but not predictable.
Lovely.
And I think I wrote that down because I said this to Richard on the dance floor and he was like, that's good, you explained that really well. I was like, I might write that down.
Were you thinking you were writing it down for Crave the Rave, or did you have another thought in mind of where you'd share these notes?
I think probably Crave the Rave, yeah. But here,
Okay.
I didn't actually know that here I would actually be doing this. And then I think I've written down something he said, which is there's so much shit music out there that you forget what good music sounds like.
Yeah.
And then you rave to something and you remember how good that magic is.
Yeah.
And for me personally, being sober especially, like obviously I was a little bit stoned, but
We
I
weren't
wasn't
sober.
high.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but I wasn't high. Like,
Okay.
I...
You were high, you smoked a joint.
But high.
Okay.
High. The kind of high that makes you connect with the music on a deeper level.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
You were just high, man. You weren't...
A high grade. And it's a very good point. I just think, like, especially when you're running on just, one beer and maybe a couple tokes on a joint, to stay when I was already tired till 4 a.m, just like so glued into the music, like, I just think, yeah, like that is the magic, and you need that for like more sober raving. Anyway, and then I've written face hurts from smiling, no bra, hurt bouncing. I wasn't wearing a bra and I was bouncing so much, like continuously to this progressive house, that whatever that beat was, it was just like by the end I was actually dancing and just holding my chest.
I had the same experience. The last time I went out to an actual rave, I didn't wear enough support around the boobie area, and I remember thinking, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna have to hold these bad boys while I dance. It was a new look for me and a new vibe for me, because I was like, Jesus, my bra isn't good enough for this dancing. Is that a sign that you're old? I guess so.
Well, I don't remember ever feeling that when I
me
was young
neither.
and raving. But I always used to wear a bra because I needed somewhere to put stuff and have easy access. So I very rarely didn't wear one because that was where the important bits lived. Anyway, so that was my night, and it was so fucking good. And Danny Howells is from the UK, and he was such a like bubbly, nice, warm character. And anyway, I encourage anyone to go and check him out because his music is fucking fire.
Oh, do you know you make me so jealous with Out and About? Like, couldn't be any different
With
to
Out
my-
and About.
With being out and about. Like, it couldn't be any more different to my life right now. I know I banged on about it loads, but honestly, mind you, Ashley got a record player for Christmas. Well, I bought him one. And he's been
Yeah, I know,
playing
you
all of
told
his-
us.
Yeah, and he's been playing all of his old jungle tunes and drum and bass in the kitchen, and we've all been dancing around to that load. So that's about all I get these days. But God, I'm jealous of your life going out. It's very different to mine.
Well, I've got this new job where I'm going to be traveling all around Europe, but it's going to be like very sober, very sensible. I'm going to be a travel guide. And as you know, I'm not going to be doing any raving. Like, it's going to be quite like grown up. So I'm getting it in now while I can.
Yeah, why not? Do it now.
Yeah,
if you can, do it.
But I will say I am fucking tired today though. Like I am feeling it. Like, I mean, to be fair, I only slept for 4 hours yesterday before I had to get up and do the dance class. And then last night I slept less than 6 hours. I woke up with old period cramps, which was not fucking fun.
Well, thanks for turning up today. Did you think about calling in sick? Did you think about cancelling on me? I was a bit worried. I knew you'd been out, and I thought, God, how's she going to feel today? But you are strong. Like, you always carry on. You always do your day, no matter what you like survive on like 3 hours sleep every night.
No, it's not every night 3 hours. But yeah, I am quite good on no sleep, which is why I'm the perfect sesh head.
You are. Do you remember back in the day when you'd be out all weekend, partying, raving, and then you'd have literally a couple of hours sleep, like 2-3 hours sleep, and then you'd go to a Sunday lunch with your family or like a birthday meal with your family, and you'd have to sit there and act like everything's all right, and that you've just got a bit of a hangover, not
Yeah.
the absolute rotten come down that you've had that's going to last 4 days. You'd be like, oh, I stayed at Lara's house last night and just had a bit of a late night, just a bit hungover, had some beers to your parents
Yeah.
and to your aunties and uncles and everybody. I used to go round to everybody's house and I'd have the dinner, and then the dinner would make me so tired. I'd
Yeah.
probably not say much at the dinner table because I was feeling so rotten. And then I'd go and find a bed and I'd go and have a nap every time in like my aunties and uncles or my cousins' beds, because I'd literally had 3 hours sleep from the rave the night before.
Yeah. No, it's the worst. But the thing is, once you go into that sleep, it's like, God, you need like 15 hours, not like 15 minutes. It's like that nap is
Yeah.
like just a little fucking drop in the ocean. And it's like being, when you have to get up again, it's like being pulled from the grave, isn't it?
It's horrible. It's so horrible. What's the worst come down that you've had? Can you remember?
Oh my God, come down.
Come down.
So I don't get
Come down.
What? Say condom or come down? Calm down.
No, I thought you said cut. No, you said, oh, come down.
No, I think I just said it weird. I don't know. That's quite funny.
Come down. That come down was bad.
And then I thought you said condom. I like condom.
Yeah, that's the way that your mind would go.
Sorry. Okay, what was the question? The come downs.
Do you remember the worst come down that you've had?
Yes, so clearly, because I haven't had that many bad ones, and this one was so horrific, and it's not even a fun story. So I, like, as in, like, it's quite bad. So I went...
Well, no come downs are fun.
Actually, yeah, good point. Good point.
What goes up must come down, you know?
Come down. Yeah, I know. Okay, so basically I was working in a gym in London, and I had to work there like the day after a 3-day Notting Hill Carnival bender where we had done, I think, upwards of about 2,000 laughing gas and had slept for milliseconds. I'd gone to work as the receptionist at this gym, and I was talking to a customer trying to sell him sunbeds. I used to sell packages of sunbeds and was trying to sell him on how great he would look with a bronzed face. And I suddenly started to just go completely cross-eyed, and basically just the world just melted around me and my legs buckled. And I wasn't fainting, but I don't like how much you're laughing.
Sorry, it's so funny. The thought of you, this little grey girl behind the counter with your cross-eyed buckling while he's a big orange macho man at the gym. Would you like our packages? 5 for the price of 3 today.
He wasn't orange, but I thought he would look better if he was. And that's what I was trying to sell him on. But then I was just like, fuck, like everything's just going all like tingly, and like it was like nothing I'd experienced before, because it wasn't fainting. It was just like my body was kind of going into some kind of like weird reaction. This is quite funny. I'm now on the floor behind the reception desk. There's now nobody else there. He's just like, hello. I'm then don't know what to do because everything's just like the world is disintegrated around me. I then on my hands and knees crawl from behind the desk, and he can now see me going away, crawling behind to go back into the office. And I think I'm going like, sorry. But I like go into the office on my hands and knees and close the door, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And
oh my God.
Yeah. And so I don't know what happened to him, but I was in there a while and I was on my own there. So anyway, I locked up the gym after that at the end of the shift. I don't know how I even pushed through to the end of the shift, but I had a come down and symptoms like that for 5 days.
Mate.
And I was so bad that I was living with my parents at this time. So it would have been about 2011. Because I'd gone back home for a bit after uni. So I was back living with my parents then, and my mum was bringing me like hot cloths, cold cloths, trying to look after me. I couldn't get out of bed. She was worried I had hepatitis. She wanted me to like go to the hospital, and I was like, how do I tell her that this is just 12 pingers and no sleep and 20,000 NOS canisters? But I did not know what to do. It was so scary. My vision didn't come back fully for 5 days. And
God.
yeah, I was like, everything was, okay, this is the way I remember feeling. You know when you try and put somebody else's glasses on? Like someone else's spectacles? And you're like, whoa, like the world just distorts. That was what it was like. And the ground, when I looked down at the ground, it was like really close to me. Or like it was, everything was distorted. And at that point, I remember lying in that fucking bed and praying to God, which, you know, I'm not a religious person, but praying to God and saying that if he makes me better, I would never take drugs again.
Oh my God.
God, if you're listening, I am so sorry that I lied to you, but thank you so much.
Yeah, you definitely broke your promise.
I gaslit him so hard. I'm so sorry. No, I shouldn't be joking about that. I do actually feel like, you know, those things are sacred. But in that moment, I was so desperate, and it was actually scary. So
yeah, I bet.
Yeah. So that was definitely my worst come down. But I came back, and I tell you what. All right, I didn't keep my full promise, but it gave me a big wake-up call, and I'd never pushed it as hard as that again. Yeah, so that was my worst come down. What about you? What was your worst come down?
I had a horrible experience at university that you know of. I think we may have discussed it before, but it was horrendous. I broke my nose whilst at uni. I fell down a flight of stairs in my uni house whilst I was on every single drug you can imagine. We'd had a house party a week before, and one of my friends, Susie, couldn't make it, and so she came the following weekend, and we had loads of leftover bits basically, and I was like, let's just take them all. We took them all and went to the pub. I must have been off my nut at the pub. Anyway, but it was a uni town in Manchester. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Everyone's the same. But yeah, I was fucked with a capital T. T? F. And
fucked.
Yeah, fucked. So then we got home, and my housemates, Susie and I, carried on, and I fell head first down a really steep flight of stairs because we had like a loft room. It was really bad.
Oh.
I smashed my nose. Thank God all I'd done is broken my nose, but it was obviously horrendous, and like everyone's fucked, so no one knows how to deal with me, and I'm normally like the one that actually deals with everybody else. So like, he was like, idiots and morons going, ooh. One of them was like, let me get a mirror for you. It's like, what's a mirror going to do? I was like, no. Luckily, Susie is actually always on the ball as well. And so Susie was like, no. Like, and I was like, what's happened? Because I couldn't really tell myself, but I knew it was bad. I was just so fucked as well. So my brain wasn't really thinking how it normally would think. Anyway, called an ambulance.
Was it hurting?
No, because I was on so many fucking drugs. I couldn't feel anything. They called an ambulance, and ambulance guy came, and he was like, basically they had to obviously take it very seriously because I could have broken my back. But the first thing I said was, I was like, I've got to tell you, I'm on this, reeled off this list of drugs as long as my fucking arm. And I was like, because I wanted them to treat me properly, do you know what I mean? I was like, I'm not afraid to tell people that I'm on something if it means that I'm going to get treated properly. The last thing I want is for them to give me an injection or something else that reacts badly.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I've got to tell them the truth in those situations. It's serious.
Yeah.
So I was like, I've got to tell you, I'm on all this, I'm on everything you can fucking imagine, right? So the guy was like, okay, well, we have to take this seriously. So they put me on a stretcher, carried me out the house. That was embarrassing, but it is what it is. Put me in the ambulance.
Aww.
I gave him a headache because I was talking so much because I was still really fucking high. So he had his head in his hands the whole way there. And Susie was like, are you all right, mate? And he was like, no, I've got a headache. And I was like, is it me? Am I giving you the headache? And he was like, yeah. But it's because I was still so fucking high. And,
he actually said yeah.
Yeah, he said yeah. Prick. But, I mean, I was. Me and Susie both really high in the back of the bloody ambulance. Get to the hospital and they can't treat me or do anything until I sober up, which is fair enough, right? So I'm in this hospital. At the beginning, Susie couldn't come in with me. So I'm just there in this hospital bed feeling pretty sorry for myself. Anyway, the drugs are starting to wear off. Mornings come. You know that feeling when the drugs are wearing off and your body feels like it's about to consume itself with like doubt and pity and sadness, right? All of that's creeping in. Normally, I'd either have a drink, maybe even a cigarette, or maybe even another fucking line. But instead, I'm in a clinical hospital bed on my own.
No.
And I'm just like, the realisation's about to sink in. Then Susie comes into the room with me and she's able to chill with me in there and I'm feeling a bit better.
Oh,
but
thank
like,
God.
As I'm sobering up, I'm feeling worse and worse. Anyway, they eventually go, right, you've got to come with us. They're checking my eyes to be that they're not dilated anymore. I've been in there for hours. I'm like, fuck. Anyway, they get this massive big needle and they stitch my nose up, right? My nose is like sideways on my head, yeah. And they get this massive needle and stitch, and he goes, I couldn't have any pain relief because I'm already on stuff.
No.
So the guy goes, yeah, and he's like, I can see the needle going past my eyes, in and out. Susie's watching, and the guy was like, the guy goes, I've seen grown men cry doing this. And I was like, I can't feel it. I can't feel it at all.
No.
Well, that'd be all the K that I fucking took. And then, anyway, so then eventually we're allowed to leave the hospital, and it's now like well into the next day. And I've got to call my parents, really. And I've got to call my boyfriend at the time. And I've got to tell people what the fuck has happened. Like, I'm going to turn up with a nose broken on my head.
Wait, turn up where?
To life.
Oh.
University. Like, I've got to leave the hospital and see people.
I thought you had one of those Sunday lunches.
No, thank God I didn't have a Sunday lunch, but it wasn't far off it. I probably did in a week's time. So then, anyway, I was like, that point it all crept in. I'm tired. I'm coming down rough, and I've got a broken nose. And I remember going to sleep that night and waking up and being like, I can't breathe. What the hell? What the hell? Of like forgetting for a minute, and then having that moment of like realizing, oh fuck, I broke my nose last night, and it was bad.
Oh,
it was really bad. Yeah, it was horrendous. And then years and years and years later, I got as soon as I moved back to my parents' house and I got a proper job after university, I got a humongous loan because no one will give me a loan. Like, God bless Tesco's, because they were the only ones that would give me a loan with huge interest. But the first thing I did was I paid for me to have a nose job. And that is why I'm nosily?
Well, you're nosy.
Well, I'm nasally because I broke my nose at uni, and that realisation of that happening the next day was fucking rough.
Oh my God, that is a come down and a half, mate. Fuck.
Innit, mate? Yeah, what's happened last night? I fucking lost my nose.
What about the bone though? Like, because they obviously weren't stitching the bone, they were stitching the skin, right? What happened there?
Well, it's cartilage. Your nose is full of cartilage. It hasn't got bone in it. So you can stitch it, like they stitch together the skin underneath it. And then when I had my nose job years later, the guy actually said to me, wow, your nose was shattered. Your cartilage was in bits. And I had to piece it together bit by bit because it had all fused together wrong.
Oh!
It was horrible. I didn't have the right nose on my face for 3 years.
Oh.
And I had a lot of debt after I get my nose job. So that is the worst come down I've ever had.
Oh, that's deep.
Very.
Peak.
Did you ever suffer from, or do you ever suffer from sleep paralysis after a big sesh?
No. Only one time I fell asleep with my fingers interlaced on my chest, and I woke up at some point and my entire like arms, like hands and stuff were completely like frozen in time. I couldn't separate my hands and they were all like pins and needles, really intense, and like that was really scary. But that was it. I haven't been like frozen. I think
you're lucky.
Yeah. Have you?
Yeah, literally every time I seshed, I'd have it afterwards. I know it's really common and I've read up about it. It's not so much all the chemicals in your system. It's more where you've missed a night's sleep. So a lot of people that may be like a jet lagged would have it as well. It's not just been partying, but when you've been partying and you missed a night's sleep, it makes it 1,000 times worse. But oh my God, I've had it so badly where like I'm like trying to get out of bed and turn the light on, but I'm not moving. It's just unbearable, and it's
Oh.
really, really scary. Yeah, I've had it. I've had it loads of times. Always after a big 3 day sesh.
I have been in the bed with people who have it and then they just start punching, like start going crazy because
Yeah,
they're like trying to bring, I don't know, life into their body.
get
And that is
out of it.
fucking, yeah, get out of it. And that is fucking scary. Because
It's horrible.
I wake up to like thinking that someone's attacking somebody, but it's actually
Their own
just
minds.
them.
Well, I said it before and I say it again. What goes up must come down, and those downs. I feel like I remember Bede said this, where you're taking all your happiness from the week ahead and having it in 2 days, two
Yeah.
nights, or one night, and then the next day. You're taking your future happiness for the whole week, and you're taking it all into 2 days, and then afterwards you've got no happiness left for the rest of the week because you've used it all. So then you have to ride out the rest of the week with no happiness because you've used all your happiness in that one night and the next day.
Your happiness capacity has been maxed out.
It's so true. I remember when I was at uni, this guy that we were partying with, we went round his house and he had had a really mad, horrible come down from the week before. So he had gone to Holland and Barrett and he'd gone and bought like every single tablet and herbal remedy and vitamin tablet that you could possibly buy. He bought loads of them and I don't know how they ended up like open in his room, but I think there was basically we went round his house and there were so many of us in his room. I think somebody had said, "Can I have one of these as a let's trying to get my body ready for the sesh that we're about to have?" And then the bottle opened and they went everywhere. Anyway, same night we had a bag of pills which were like everybody's and they'd gone missing. So his house is now having a massive house party and there's loads of us in his room and people are coming in and then they're like, "Hey mate, can we have the pills?" And he's like, I can't find them. But meanwhile, all these herbal tablets have all sprawled across the bed and on the floor. So everyone's like, oh, here they are. And then he's like, no, that's not them. That's from Holland and Barrett. Okay. And then they'll go out of the room and then someone else will come in. Hey, mate, can we get the diddler from you? He's like, I don't know where they are. They're somewhere in this room, but there's so many people in here. I don't know where they are. And someone else will go, hey, I found them. Here they are. No, that's just vitamin C. Come on, they're around and everyone was looking for them everywhere. Oh, what about these? No, they're just vitamin D. Oh, okay. And this went on all night.
But wait, why were these in baggies? I don't get it. Like what they can't
They weren't. It was just like they'd for some reason they'd unopened out of the somebody at some point had asked for one or something and they'd fallen out of the tub.
Yeah. Okay, but they were just finding them loose and being like, here they are, like loads of loose rolling around pills.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, they were. I don't know why. I don't know why they were just rolling around the floor, but they were. But also there was like, like the pill packets.
Okay, yeah.
So they'd be around as well. And then where they've popped, because people are sitting on them, that had like released pills, basically. So there just happened to be in this room loads and loads of vitamin tablets all scattered
Everywhere around looking highly suspicious.
Yeah, where everyone's thinking, oh, I found them. And then that wasn't it. It went on all night. It was so funny because he was so serious because people had put in money for them. We couldn't find them. They were somewhere in the room and people were coming in asking for their share of it. And every single time someone would say, here they are. This is him. I found them.
That would have cracked me up.
And every time we all go, nah, that's not them. And then someone else would come in and say the same thing. And it went on all night. And eventually we found them and they were like somewhere really obvious. He'd put them somewhere safe, as you do at that time of the, and they were somewhere really obvious where they should have been the whole night long. But I just always remember that as being the funniest thing ever.
Oh, that is funny. Well, it's like, so when we went to Zamna Festival, the one I was talking about on the last episode, basically during lockdown in COVID, it was crazy. So I was saying there was queues for this and queues for that. Imagine in lockdown. Yeah, there was a queue to have to show your COVID test getting in. And at the time, because it was COVID time, you weren't allowed your phone inside Zamna. So what they did at the entrance is they collected all the phones and they did a metal detector around your body, the hand metal detector, to check you weren't hiding a phone. So everyone was getting caught at the front with their phones in their balls or whatever, trying to hide their phone to get it in.
Sorry, why weren't you allowed a phone?
Because they didn't want loads of attention for doing these huge festivals of 3,000 to 5,000 people in the middle of COVID lockdown.
It was illegal, the party they're putting on, so they didn't want it to be out.
Not legal, not illegal by Mexican standards, because everything has a price here, but it was more that it's like international DJs, international producers, well, like on a global stage. I don't think they wanted all of those videos out showing what Mexico's doing because of everyone was obviously freaking out about like social distancing. And meanwhile, you couldn't have two friends over in London, otherwise you'd have your neighbor calling the police. Here we've got 5,000 people in the middle of the jungle, fucking, doing whatever, having it up. Anyway, so the reason I'm saying this story is because me and my friend Gemma came up with this great solution to tie your phone in your sleeve pocket of your jacket that you had with you, and then just hold your jacket. So when they searched you, you kind of held your jacket up. They thought your jacket was just your jacket, like, but we tied it in the sleeve of it, right? So it was trapped in there. We both got our phones in, and then fast forward a little bit later in the night, Gemma lost her phone. And so we were like, fuck, okay, we're going to all the bars and going up to the security and people being like, have you found a phone? Have you had a phone handed in? First of all, security were like, you're not allowed your phone. And I'm there phoning her phone and I'm like, fuck, they're going to take my phone, because there was no phones, which was actually kind of cool on the dance floor. But everyone kept saying to her, no, don't worry. Your phone's at the front. You handed it in. Like, they were like, people were so excited to tell her, wait. Oh my God, I've got the best news for you. You're just fucked. You didn't actually have your phone to start with. It's in the safe place. And I was honestly cracking up so much, because even though this terrible thing was happening, it was that same repeated thing.
Everybody was saying the same.
Saying the same thing of like, no, your phone is safe, don't worry. And she was like, no, it's not. I brought my phone in. I wish it was in the safe place, but it's not, and I've lost it. Yeah, so we never got her phone back. And at the end, it was fucking nuts. So like, imagine, like end of the fucking night, thousands of people coming out, and it was just every man for themselves. It was just, they emptied these huge muslin bags of phones, and people were just like running to get their phones with this huge strip light on top of you. I remember I was really fucked, and I was like, this is like watching, I don't know, some kind of like really intense feeding frenzy, like it was nuts. So yeah, anyway, when you just said that about the repeated thing that was cracking you up, that really made me think of that.
That's so funny. That's really funny.
Actually, talking of Zamna, something I forgot to say last time when I was telling you about my my trip to Zamna last week was, so me and Neil, Nena Helena, the DJ I mentioned that we went to Zamna with, and friend of ours. So he and I were the ones that had like the backstage. We only had two for backstage. So what we agreed with our other two friends that we went with, Steph and Emilio, was that it was impossible to find people, as you can imagine. It's like there's no signal. Actually, listen to this. Zamna is so commercialized that there was hot women in bikinis holding signs saying, get your Wi-Fi here. Get your Wi-Fi here. And I was, and I went up to her. Yes, I went up to her and I said, all right, like, what's the deal with the Wi-Fi? And she was like, 200 pesos.
How much is that in UK money?
£10, about $10. So about £8 for access to the Wi-Fi so that you can meet your friends if you lost them, because there's no signal because it's in the middle of the jungle. But it just cracked me up that you've got these like sexy women holding signs, like trying to sell Wi-Fi. Anyway, so that's just a side note. So you couldn't meet someone if you lost them. Like we had a meeting. I was like, right, we need a meeting place. Anyway, me and Neil were like, let's go check out backstage, just see if there's anything for free or anything good. And we decided, okay, we'll meet you back here at the meeting place. And we decided in 30 minutes so that we could meet our two friends. Okay. We just wanted to check it out. Perfect. We agreed on a time. We agreed on a place. Sorted. Me and Neil went to the backstage. It was shit, like I told you. It was whack. So we came back bang on time, 1 minute before time, and we stood there. We're chatting. And we're like, wow, they're really quite late for the time. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So we ended up sitting down a few meters from where we agreed on a beanbag. We found some beanbags. And so we were like, okay, cool. 45 minutes pass. And we're like, we spend about half of that time hypothesizing about what could have happened to them, which was cracking us up.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, you give me your 3 most crazy, like, suggestions. And, like, so we played that back and forth. And then I was like, okay, what do you think, let's vote for the most realistic, because we just couldn't figure it out. We were like, we can't leave here because we're never going to find them again, but also, why would they abandon the plan? It was such a simple plan.
Yeah.
So we were like,
and if you got paid for Wi-Fi for £10 a pop from the sexy ladies, you wouldn't risk it.
or I was like, if they really needed to let us know, they would have paid $10 for them. Like, you know, worst comes to the worst, you know. So there's just, I'm like, well, how is this happening? Anyway, so some suggestions we came up with, you know, were like, Emilio's broken his leg. They got caught doing acid on the dance floor and they got kicked out.
Yeah.
Stephanie fell suddenly ill and had to be taken away. And then I was like, well, where would they go? I've got the car, I'm driving, like, it doesn't make any sense. Okay. We thought maybe they got in a huge fight. Like, it was just like, what other ones were there? Like, Stephanie lost her whole handbag and they were frantically looking for it, that they lost track of time, you know. Maybe they misunderstood the place. We were like, oh my God, they must have thought it was here, but we went there and they weren't there. Like, we had so many theories. In the end, we got up and we were about to leave, and I had done a lap of this we were in like a little courtyard where there was like about 6 different food vendors and a little stage, and luckily the music in the little stage was good. It wasn't really like a big dance floor, but it was just like, at least there was good music playing. And as I stood up after 45 minutes, I just saw them, and they were sat literally opposite us on like another ledge. They were on like a little ledge, sat down. And I was like, oh my fucking God. And I swear I'd already looked. We had been waiting, like, they were about 10 meters from us. And I went over and I was like, oh my fucking God. How long have you been here? And they were like, they looked really sheepish and they were like, oh, you know, like, we've been here quite a while. And I was like, wait, how long's like quite a while? Because we got here on time. And they were like, oh, like, we got here, yeah, about that, like, we've been here the whole time. And I was like, are you fucking joking? We've literally been sat over there hypothesizing about what could have possibly happened to you. Anyway, it transpired why they were being shifty is because they felt embarrassed that they had actually not even gone back into the rave. They just, after we left them, they just went and sat in this courtyard.
Oh, they've been there the whole time?
Like, literally the whole time. So they'd actually been in this one spot nearly an hour and a half. And we just sat there like talking and chatting, just waiting for us, just like also thinking what the fuck had happened to us. But anyway, I mean, we were kind of high. We had taken a few bits and bobs. So I think that's what happened. But I just couldn't believe that for all that time, we were 10 meters from each other. And they'd been there the whole time. We'd been there the whole time. And that was it. And then we were reunited. But that was quite funny.
Have you ever been really lost at a rave?
Do you know what? I used to get lost in fabric. When I first started going there, when I was high, I'd get really confused about which room I had been in.
The 2 staircases.
Yeah, like, well, yeah, the 2 staircases, but also the 2, you know, like on the either side of where the bed was, there was the 2 pathways divided by the beds that you could lie on.
Yeah.
Going between room 1 and room 2.
Yeah.
And so I'd kind of go between the 2 and be like, wait, which room was I actually in originally? When I was high, then I got, obviously after you go there 50 times, you get your bearings.
Yeah, after you go there every Friday for 5 years, you get your bearings pretty well.
Yeah, I remember the last time that I counted the lineups, because remember I think I might have mentioned this even before on the pod, but I used to pull down the paper lineup that they used to blue tack onto the walls. I'd take one every single time I went. And the last time I counted, I had 50 of those for true players. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, we went a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a year of going, because we literally every week, so it's 52 weeks in a year.
Yep.
That was just a year.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not one for getting lost. I'd never get lost, but I always come up with a plan so that the lost people we can find them. I remember we went to Secret Garden Party and we lost Amy on the first day and we didn't see her for about 2 days afterwards. And she had an outfit on where she had like designed it herself and made this really cool outfit that had feathers on it. And she'd gone off, like, we lost her. The next day we're like, where is Amy? Where is Amy? Like, we're worried about her. Like, where is she? Anyway, then we started talking to people and they were like, did you see that girl last night on the dance floor? She was like dressed as a crow. And she was dancing on the dance floor. And right, she was fucked. And we were like, Amy! And then finally, after about 2 days, Amy finally, because I think she'd come back and slept when we had gone. I don't know how we'd missed her, but like we hadn't seen her in like 2 days. We were really worried. And finally she turned up and she had like this outfit and all the feathers were all like bashed up on her back where she'd been partying so much and her makeup down her face. And she was like, I've had the best time. And we were like, oh my God.
Yeah. So she looked more like a decrepit crow or pigeon.
Crow, yeah. She started off as a beautiful peacock and ended up as a bashed up crow.
That's funny. All right, well, I got, parties to go to, people to do, so, I've got to get out of here now.
People to do?
No, I'm joking. No, I'm going for a lovely leisurely walk up the beach today.
Oh, that's nice. Well, I've been for my walk and I fed the ducks and my life is very, very middle-aged housewife at the moment.
You fed the ducks? Oh my God.
Fed the ducks, bruv. Yeah, I know. Can we just say thanks to all of our new listeners, actually?
Yes. Welcome.
And thanks to everyone that shares. We love it. We love it when people share with their mates. And it means so much to us. Please keep sharing. Please pass the pod on. And we're also doing a bit of a shout out for people's messiest moments. I know I've asked for it before and I've banked those stories. So thanks to everyone that's got one. But we're going to do a special episode, which is just messy moments.
Yeah.
So can people send us a message on Instagram or send us a voice note where we can then either read it out or play it on the pod, and we're going to choose the top ones, and then we'll have just a messiest moments episode where we'll discuss the funniest messy moments. And what we mean by messiest moments is maybe not the dark ones where you broke your nose, it's a bit too much, I get it, but maybe something along the lines of you saw your friend, I don't know, slip over and shit at a rave or something like that, and just something a bit funny that has always stuck out to you guys and has always stayed in your mind.
We love you guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Love you, Jess.
Take care. Bye. Love you too. Bye.